Hey everybody, here we are with our third chapter this week, chapter 36, Native American Cultures. And again, we're picking up where we left off in Art History 1. So now we get to talk about more of the super famous Native American cultures from Central America and a little bit of South America and, of course, North America. All right, here we go. So here's our learning objectives. As always, great ideas for a paper. Anyone that you are interested in, just pause and screen cap. And here's our timeline. Great facts. Yep, things that you could say about pretty much every dynasty, and then after that it was periods, I believe. Okay, here's the map, and Inca sites. Okay, so here we have South America, mostly Peru, but look at how big this kingdom was. Oh my gosh, those Incas. Okay, and then Native American sites in North America. Okay, so this is a ink and color on paper. It's a folio from the Codex Mendoza. The founding of Tenochtitlan. I actually looked up the pronunciations of a lot of these giant words that I had no idea. Okay. Many of the Spaniards who first saw Tenochtitlan likened it to Venice. I'm a little sad that we don't have an actual, image of the city here. But we can look that up in the text. So they thought it looked like Venice. The scene represented in this folio page from the Codex Mendoza is the founding of Tenochtitlan. This folio comes from the Codex Mendoza, so those are the things to remember with that one. Okay, and here we have a folio page from the Borgia Codex. There's a very, very, very famous author. Hold on. I wasn't thinking of a Borgia, although there's many famous Borgias. You've seen that on TV lately. I was thinking of Borges, which is Jorge Borges. Borges, I think it is. And he's written so many amazing stories. They say he's the most important author of the 20th century. And the one that I always remember is a short story that he wrote called Tlan Akbar and Orbis Tertius. So if you ever get a chance to read Borges, wow, he's amazing. So much fun. Okay, let's move back to the subject here. So this is a depiction of Quetzalcoatl. That's this, Quetzalcoatl. And Mictlantecuhtli. Now it's starting to come together, right? So she was the feathered serpent, and he was the lord of the land of the dead, who ruled the underworld. And this was a story that was seen in the Borgia Codex. And it illustrated the inevitable relationship of life and death. Okay, very good. Okay, here we have Tenochtitlan. It's laid out on a grid plan that is reminiscent of the earlier culture, Teotihuacan. So that was in Art History 1 that we learned all about Teotihuacan. So I just imagine that city and this building being located there. The city that became a pilgrimage site for the Aztecs is Teotihuacan. So they'd go back and visit their, you know, their ancestors in that former city. The Aztecs called themselves Mexica. And in the Aztec, this is, nope, that's not it. There's another person. Huehuetlocalli. Superimposition, a common practice in Mesoamerican architecture, is best exemplified. So basically what they're saying when something's superimposed is it's something on top of something, you know. So all of these layers are on top of one another. So that's really interesting, I think. They call it superimposed. And we know, you know, like something over top of something else. Okay, here we have this artwork, this 10 by 10 or almost 11-foot stone. The interpretation of the murder of Coyolxauhqui by her brother, Huitzilopochtli. This is Coyolxauhqui. And then you would have known the whole story here, that her brother, is that he, oopsie daisy, is that he triumphed as the sun over the moon. So he's become the sun, she's the moon. The relief of Coyolxauhqui, discovered in 1979, had been hidden from the Spaniards because it lay within the outermost shell of the great temple, concealing it completely. So remember how we had all these layers? It was completely buried inside of there. So that's pretty cool. The story here is kind of weird. I mean, apparently she's all dismembered. So, yeah, I didn't really get it until I heard that detail. Now it's like, oh, okay, I see why the body parts are separated. Okay, this is, they say that this says, is pronounced Tlachtli, from the great temple of Tenochtitlan. And this is also Aztec. This is like enormous, as you can see. This relief of the goddess Tlachtli giving birth, okay, I don't know, we're missing some parts here, but it was found covering a grave shaft in the great temple of Tenochtitlan. Grave shaft always stops me a little bit. Okay, so this is Coatlicue from Tenochtitlan in Mexico City, and this is a colossal Aztec statue, and apparently this is the goddess. We got some underworld themes here, though, you know? See that? Okay, this is an Inca man. This kind of stopped me. I always thought it was INCA, but apparently the old spelling is this, and the new spelling, I mean, I don't know what, the last 1,000 years or something, I have no idea, is Inca with a C. Okay, so this is an Inca man working with a Kaipo from the Codex Murua, ink and color on vellum. So this kind of reminds us of those medieval books, you know, that the monks made, where it was like illuminated manuscript. So the physical form of the Kaipo is a device that the Incas used to maintain accurate accounting records, and it is a colored cord with knots. So that makes me think of an abacus. You remember those, you know, things that were like beads, that you moved the beads, and this one meant 1,000 and this was 100. And yeah, so I think it's kind of like that. It's a calculator. Okay, Machu Picchu. This is the place that everybody knows about now. So this is in Peru, and at the very tippy top of a mountain. Skillful organizational and tight administrative control explains the power of the Inca from a relatively small highland group, top of the mountain, in the year 1000 to an empire ruling over thousands of square miles in the 1400s. So they really grew. And why did they grow? Because they were able to develop communications along an extensive system of roads to control their empire. Machu Picchu is of great archaeological importance because the site had been left undisturbed since Inca times. So since 1000 up until, when did they discover it? Like the 70s? Hold on, I'm going to look. Okay, so it was in the 1900s, but 1911. And the explorer was looking for another city, and then he found this. And so for a long time, it was just known as the lost city of the Inca. And the reason why everything ended for the Inca was, of course, the Spanish conquistadors ruined everything. Can't change history though, right? Okay, so this is the remains of the Temple of the Sun in Cuzco. That always makes me think of The Emperor's New Groove, if you've seen that Disney movie. Okay, so the supreme masters of shaping and fitting stones for architecture in South America were the Inca. This building, wow, made completely without any type of mortar. The pieces are just fitted together. Holy crap. Oh, pardon me, French. A prime example of dry joining masonry without mortar, is found in the Inca Temple of the Sun at Cuzco. The important Inca shrine that the Spanish used as the foundation for their church of Santo Domingo in Cuzco is the Temple of the Sun. Okay, here we get to see some of those famous animals, the llamas, alpacas, and a woman. Near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, Inca. Okay, so this is silver with gold and cinnabar. Pretty. Did you know that the llama, the creature of the llama, used to be related to the camel? Way back. And then it was like a lost species, and then people started, breeding them again, and now we have our modern day llama. Very weird and interesting. Okay, this is a detail of Kiva. It's a mural in the Pueblo. Okay, this ancestral Puebloan mural that decorated a male council house is referred to as a kiva. Okay, this is a photograph taken in 1948 at Mesa Verde National Park. Oh, it's a Navajo mom. So, just to refer to the Navajo, they had this ephemeral art form, which was, temporary, and then no longer existed afterwards. So almost like performance art, but no documentation. So it was known only to a few practitioners and destroyed after each ceremony in which they used it. So it accompanied some of the most sacred rituals of the Navajo, and it was sand paintings. So they just, I don't know. Oh, I know something about that. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, I had learned about sand paintings as, as an early art teacher. And in like Tibet and in the Buddhist and Hindu religions, they create a mandala out of sand. And so they create this circle of like different colored sands and minerals and pigments. And what they're doing is kind of creating a portal to the mind. So it's like places that you can go to meditate. And then the Navajos felt that when they would create their sand paintings, they were very similar, actually, like a mandala. And they did it so that spirits could come through the portal. And, it was like ceremonial healing. And then they would, destroy it afterward, just the same way, the Tibetan monks did. That's kind of cool. Okay, here we have a Hopi Katsina by Otto Tewa in Arizona. In Southwestern art, the Hopi name for spirits personifying ancestors and natural elements, such as mountains and rivers, is Katsina. And the artist who created this Hopi Katsina figurine is Otto Pentewa. So, Hopi dolls. If you've ever heard of those, there's one. Okay, here we have some modern artists. Fairly modern, right? 30s to 40s. The Southwestern artists who revived ancient pottery techniques to create forms of striking shape, proportion, and texture are Maria and Julian Martinez. So that's really cool. I love this artwork. Okay, eagle transformation mask. Look at it. So it's an eagle transformed into a human. How cool. Okay, a pervasive theme of art in the Americas that is embodied by this Kwakwaka'wakw, that's how you say this, Kwakwaka'wakw, mask is transformation. I get that, yeah, makes total sense. Now here, we've got the Tlingit tribe. So they live way up north, like, I think one of the poles, or Alaska as well. Oh, this is actually Canada. Okay, let me just reset and start over. Okay, so this is a war helmet mask. The Tlingit group uses a male designer and a female weaver to produce its textiles. I realize this is not really a textile. Can you believe it's made out of wood? Wow, I would have totally thought this was like bronze or something. And they say that the Tlingit tribe, their masks differ from everyone else's in that they are more true to life, you know, more realistic and less stylized or symbolic. Okay, here's Bill Reed. So this is 1962. How cool. Okay, so the totemic, the totem pole, emblems of Haida poles display information about clan groups. The Native American artist Bill Reed is responsible for this recreation on Queen Charlotte Island of a Haida village and its totem poles. So, you know, all of this was information to let you know who lives here. Okay, this is another Bill Reed, The Raven and the First Men. Oh my, dear, dear. Just saw something I can't unsee. Okay, so this is a chilcot blanket. Blankets with stylized animal motifs woven of shredded bark and goat wool by the Tlingit artists are referred to as chilcot. The Tlingit group used well, I said that already. So these were things that you would wrap around your shoulders, so, you know, the fringe would hang down the back, but, you know, fancy. Bet it was warm, too. So the Mask of the North Wind, this one here, was created by an artist from the Yupik Eskimo peoples. The Yupik Eskimo have a rich ceremonial tradition based on seals. And what I found interesting about this mask is that this kind of oval around it is meant to represent the universe. Huh. Okay, here's a buffalo hide robe with a battle scene. Deerskin, fringe, porcupine quills, mineral pigments. Wow, cool. Okay, so back to that last one. Nobody really uses these anymore, but they'll use them in like ceremonial dances. All of these, you know, what they now call costumes, but it's native clothing. So they never get to come out anymore unless it's for some kind of show. Oh, competitive though. Okay, so lots about this guy. This warrior lived in Great Plains, North America. The warrior depicted in this engraving was a member of the Hidatsu. The pipe, painted buffalo robe, bear claw necklace, and oh, the decorations on the, like his skin wrap. I'm sure there's a better way of saying that. It's like a cape. So the decorations on here represent military accomplishments in Carl Bodmer's portrait entitled Two Ravens. So that's what it's known as. Navajo weavers, so this is just a general. Navajo weavers, Pueblo ceramic artists, and Woodlands animal skin decorators are all art forms that were practiced by Native American women in North America. So great, had a lot of women artists, mostly textiles though. The ancient art of creating quilled, beaded, and painted clothing has now evolved into ceremonial dances, competitive, as I said already. Oops. Okay, here we go. This artist has drawn this picture in a ledger book. So they use ledgers. I think that's amazing to do their bookkeeping. And this would have been in the 1880s. And it's almost like, along with your notes, adding a little drawing. Cool. Okay, almost done. So here we have a lot of additional notes. And I think really any one of these, if you want a screen cap, could be a great idea for a paper. And then our discussion questions, same thing. So pause and screen cap if you like any of these ideas. And that's it.